Listen to me. There's a reason why the seed grows underground. Nobody sees it, nobody applauds it, nobody even knows it's there. But under all that dirt, all that pressure, all that weight, something is happening. Something is stirring, something is breaking, something is shifting. The roots are digging deep, the foundation is being laid, and what was buried will one day break through. You may feel buried right now, but don't you dare let the dirt make you believe you're done. You're not buried, you're planted, and planted things grow. Planted things thrive. Planted things rise. I need you to understand that prisons aren't always physical. Sometimes the prison is in your mind, in your past, in your regrets, in your fear of the future. But whatever your prison looks like, it's not permanent. It's not the end. It's a process. And purpose thrives in process. Purpose grows in pressure. Purpose grows in pressure. Purpose is born in places that feel like they're breaking you, but really, they're making you. Do you hear what I'm saying? What feels like punishment can be preparation. What looks like confinement can be cultivation. What seems like a setback can be a setup for something greater. You've got to shift your perspective. Stop looking at where you are and start looking at who you are becoming. Stop focusing on what you've lost and start focusing on what's being built inside of you. You're stronger than you think, you're wiser than you know, you're more resilient than you realize. The chains that try to hold you can't contain the fire inside you. The walls that try to block you can't stop the light that's shining through you. You're carrying something too powerful, too extraordinary, too divine to be stopped by a temporary circumstance. Let me tell you something about purpose. It's not about where you are, it's about who you are. Purpose doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't wait for sunny days and smooth roads. Purpose shows up in the storm. Purpose grows in the struggle. Purpose thrives in the fire. And sometimes it's the fire that reveals what's really inside of you. Gold is refined in fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. In greatness, greatness is born in adversity. So if you're in the middle of adversity right now, congratulations. You're in the perfect place for purpose to unfold. Don't you dare let the lies of the enemy make you think this is the end of your story. Don't you dare let the whispers of doubt convince you that you've been forgotten. You're not forgotten. You're not forsaken. You're being forged. There's a difference. Being forged means you're being shaped. Being forged means you're being shaped. Being forged means you're being strengthened. Being forged means you're being prepared for something greater than what you can see right now. And let me tell you, when the time is right, what's been forged in the fire will come forth with power, with clarity, with unstoppable strength. You might feel isolated, but isolation isn't the absence of purpose. Sometimes it's the breeding ground for revelation. When you're alone, when the noise fades, when the distractions fall away, that's when you start to hear the still, small voice reminding you of who you are. That's when you start to see glimpses of the vision that was planted in you long ago. That's when you start to realize that your value isn't tied to your circumstance. Your worth isn't determined by your surroundings. Your identity isn't dictated by what's around you, but by what's within you. Listen, you can't let your environment define your identity. You can't let your situation rewrite your destiny. Purpose isn't dictated by where you are, it's rooted in who you are. And who you are is greater than the walls around you, greater than the chains that try to hold you, greater than the doubts that try to consume you. There's a fighter inside of you. There's a dreamer inside of you. There's a visionary inside of you. And no prison, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, can silence the roar of purpose that's been placed within you. I need you to understand that the prison is not the end. It's a chapter, not the conclusion. And let me tell you, every great story has moments where it feels like all is lost. Moments where it looks like the hero won't make it. Moments where the struggle seems too much to bear. But those moments are not the end. They're the turning point. They're the setup for the comeback. They're the stage being set for the glory that's about to be revealed. So don't you give up in the middle of the story. Don't you quit before the breakthrough. Don't you let the darkness convince you that the light won't shine again. Sometimes purpose requires patience. Sometimes purpose demands perseverance. Sometimes purpose asks you to keep walking when you can't see the way, to keep believing when the evidence says otherwise, to keep hoping when everything in you wants to give up. Purpose isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And let me tell you, the purpose that's being formed in you right now is worth every tear, every struggle, every sleepless night. It's worth it because it's shaping you into someone who can handle the weight of what's coming next. It's worth it. You've got to trust the process. You've got to believe that even in the prison, there's a purpose. Even in the pain, there's a plan. Even in the waiting, there's a work being done. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that what felt like a setback was actually a setup. What seemed like a breaking was actually a blessing. What looked like the end was actually the beginning of something greater than you could have ever imagined. So rise up, shake off the dust of despair, stand tall in the face of adversity, and remember, the prison doesn't define you, your purpose does. And your purpose is unstoppable. You've got to become the person who has the endurance to tolerate the answer. This speech has been crafted in a powerful and motivational style. Let me know if you'd like to refine or adjust it further. Challenges have a way of revealing what we're truly made of. Adversity, no matter how dark or daunting, is often the soil where purpose is planted, watered, and cultivated. It's easy to look at the struggles in life and think they're nothing but obstacles standing in the way of your destiny. But what if those very struggles are part of the path? What if the things you're trying to escape are the very things meant to shape you? Purpose doesn't just appear in the sunshine and smooth roads. Purpose thrives when life feels like a battlefield, when the weight of the world is pressing down, and when the odds are stacked against you. That's when true growth begins. About the seed that's buried deep beneath the soil. No one sees it. No one applauds it. It's surrounded by darkness and pressed down by dirt. And yet, that's exactly where it starts to grow. It's the pressure, the isolation, and the unseen struggle that give it the strength to break through the surface. Your challenges are no different. They may feel like they're burying you, but they're actually planting you. And what's planted has the potential to grow into something extraordinary. But growth isn't instant, and it isn't easy. It's a process that requires faith, resilience, and the determination to keep pushing forward, even when everything in you wants to give up. Adversity has a way of stripping away the superficial. It removes the distractions, the noise, and the things that don't truly matter. When you're in the middle of a storm, you're forced to confront what's real. You're forced to dig deep and find out what's truly inside of you. And often, what you find is strength you didn't know you had, courage you didn't know existed, and a purpose that's bigger than the pain you're feeling. Adversity doesn't just test you, it transforms you. It's in the fire of challenges that your character is refined, your vision is clarified, and your resilience is built. Sometimes we think purpose can only thrive in perfect conditions. We tell ourselves, if only I had this, if only I were there, if only things were different, then I could step into my purpose. But purpose isn't waiting for everything to be perfect. It's not waiting for the storm to pass or the road to be smooth. Purpose shows up in the middle of the mess, in the chaos, and in the struggle. It's in those moments when you feel like you're at your weakest that purpose begins to take root. It's in the hard places that you discover your strength, your grit, and your ability to rise. Pressure has a way of pushing us to places we never thought we'd go. It stretches us, challenges us, and forces us to grow. And while it's uncomfortable, even painful at times, it's necessary. Without pressure, there's no progress. Without adversity, there's no growth. Without struggle, there's no strength. Think about the diamond, one of the most precious and resilient stones in the world. It's formed under intense pressure and heat. Without that pressure, it will remain just another piece of carbon. But because of the process, it becomes something beautiful, something valuable, something unbreakable. You are no different. The pressure you're feeling, the challenges you're facing, they're not meant to destroy you. They're meant to transform you. They're meant to bring out the brilliance that's been inside you all along. Purpose doesn't just survive adversity, it thrives in it. When you're faced with challenges, you have a choice. You can let them break you, or you can let them build you. You can let them make you bitter, or you can let them make you better. The choice is yours. But know this, every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become stronger, and to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. The struggles you're facing today are not in vain. They're not meaningless. They're shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for what's ahead. One of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is that adversity means we're off course. We think, if I were really walking in my purpose, things would be easier. But that's not how purpose works. Purpose doesn't remove the obstacles. It gives you the strength to overcome them. Purpose doesn't eliminate the storms. It anchors you in the middle of them. Purpose doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It means the challenges won't defeat you. In fact, the very presence of adversity is often a sign that you're on the right path. It's a sign that you're stepping into something greater, something worth fighting for. When you're in the midst of adversity, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong. It's easy to get caught up in the pain. the frustration, and the disappointment. But if you can shift your perspective, if you can start to see your challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities, everything changes. You begin to see that the very thing you thought was holding you back is actually pushing you forward. The very thing you thought was breaking you is actually building you. The very thing you thought was meant to destroy you is actually preparing you for your destiny. Adversity is a teacher, and every challenge comes with a lesson. It teaches you resilience. It teaches you perseverance. It teaches you to trust the process, even when you don't understand it. It teaches you to keep going, even when the road is hard and the journey is long. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches you that you're stronger than you think, that you can handle more than you realize, that you have what it takes to not just survive, but thrive. You've got to stop seeing adversity as the enemy and start seeing it as an ally. It's not here to defeat you. It's here to develop you. It's here to refine you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for the purpose that's been placed on your life. And let me tell you, that purpose is too important, too significant, too powerful to be stopped by a little bit of adversity. You were created for more. You were created for greatness. And greatness is not born in comfort. It's born in challenge. It's born in the fire. It's born in the struggle. When you face adversity, you're standing on holy ground. You're standing in the place where purpose is being revealed, where strength is being built, and where destiny is being forged. And while it may not feel like it in the moment, one day you'll look back and realize that the very things you thought were meant to harm you were actually working for your good. That the very things you thought were breaking you were actually making you. That the very things you thought were holding you back were actually pushing you forward. So embrace the adversity. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't let it make you shrink back or give up. Face it head on, knowing that it's not here to defeat you, but to develop you. Knowing that it's not a sign that you've lost your way, but a sign that you're stepping into your purpose. Knowing that it's not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where purpose thrives, where strength is built, and where destiny is fulfilled. Yeah, I've expanded the keynote into a detailed and motivational segment. Let me know if you'd like further refinements or adjustments, because you are not just a person. Circumstances are powerful, aren't they? They have a way of screaming at you, trying to convince you that they're the final authority in your life. But let me tell you something. Circumstances may be loud, but they're not lasting. They may feel overwhelming, but they're not defining. Who you are is not tied to what's happening around you. Who you are is rooted in something far deeper, far stronger, far more resilient than the temporary situations you find yourself in. You've got to understand this, because if you don't, you'll let your environment shape your identity, and that's a dangerous place to be. You see, life has a way of throwing curveballs, of putting you in places you never expected to be, places you never wanted to be. And when you find yourself in those places, it's easy to let the situation start to speak louder than the truth of who you are. You look at the mess around you and think, this is who I am now. But let me tell you something. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your struggles. You are not defined by the walls that surround you, by the chains that try to hold you, or by the opinions of those who don't even know the depth of your story. You are defined by something far greater, something unshakable, something eternal. Think about this. If a diamond is dropped in the mud, does it lose its value? Does it stop being a diamond just because it's surrounded by dirt? No, its value is intrinsic. It's unchanging. The dirt may cover it, may obscure its shine for a moment, but the diamond is still a diamond. And when the mud is washed away, its brilliance is revealed once again. You are that diamond. Your value, your worth, your identity, none of it is diminished by the dirt of your circumstances. None of it is lost because of the challenges you're facing. You may feel buried, but you are not broken. You may feel surrounded, but you are not defeated. You are still who you were created to be, and nothing can take that away. One of the greatest mistakes we make is allowing temporary situations to rewrite the narrative of our lives. Just because you're in a tough season doesn't mean your story has changed. The chapter you're in right now is not the whole book. The prison you're in today is not the final destination. The chains you feel today are not your forever. Don't let the temporary fool you into believing it's permanent. Don't let the momentary convince you that it's the whole story. Your circumstances are part of the process, but they're not the definition of who you are. Identity is not something that can be taken away from you. It's not something that can be lost, stolen, or destroyed by what's happening around you. Your identity is rooted in who you were created to be. And that doesn't change. It doesn't waver. It doesn't shift with the winds of circumstance. But here's the thing. If you don't know who you are, if you don't have a firm grasp on your identity, it becomes all too easy to let the world, let the situation, let the struggle dictate it for you. And that's why it's so important to hold on to the truth of who you are, even when everything around you is trying to tell you otherwise. When you're in a tough place, it's tempting to shrink back, to hide, to let the weight of the situation push you down. But that's not who you are. You are not someone who gives up. You are not someone who lets the darkness win. You are someone who stands, who rises, who keeps moving forward, even when the path is hard, even when the way is unclear, even when the obstacles seem insurmountable. There is a strength inside of you that no circumstance can take away. There is a light inside of you that no darkness can extinguish. There is a purpose inside of you that no prison can silence. You've got to remember that your circumstances are temporary, but your identity is eternal. The things you're facing right now may feel overwhelming, but they're not the end. They're not the sum total of who you are. They're a chapter, a moment, a part of the journey, but they're not the whole story. And if you can hold on to that truth, if you can remember who you are in the midst of the storm, then you can walk through anything. You can face anything. You can overcome anything. Circumstances will try to label you. They'll try to put you in a box, to tell you what you can and cannot do, to limit you based on what's happening around you. But those labels don't stick. They don't define you. The world may try to call you one thing, but you know the truth. You know who you are. You know what you carry. You know the purpose that's been placed inside of you. And when you know that, when you truly believe that, nothing can stop you. Nothing can hold you back. Nothing can keep you from walking in the fullness of who you were created to be. Your circumstances are not your identity. They're not your destiny. They're not your forever. They're a moment, a season, a part of the journey. And while they may be hard, while they may stretch you and challenge you and push you to your limits, they cannot define you. They cannot change the truth of who you are. They cannot take away the value, the worth, the greatness that's been placed inside of you. You are more than your circumstances. You are greater than the challenges you face. You are stronger than the struggles that come against you. And the scriptures say, it's time to stop letting your environment dictate your identity. It's time to stop letting your situation rewrite your story. It's time to stand up, to rise above, to declare that no matter what's happening around you, you will not be moved. You will not be shaken. You will not be defined by what's temporary. You will hold on to the truth of who you are, to the truth of who you were created to be, and you will walk in that truth no matter what. Because who you are is unshakable. Who you are is undeniable. Who you are is unstoppable. Who you are is unstoppable. I've expanded Keynote 2.2 into a detailed and motivational narrative. Let me know if you'd like to refine it or address any specific part further. Trusting the process isn't easy. It's hard to wait, hard to endure, hard to believe that something good is happening when all you can see is the struggle in front of you. But the process is necessary. The process is the journey that prepares you for the destination. The process is what shapes you, molds you, and strengthens you to handle the purpose and destiny that's been placed on your life. And the truth is, purpose without process doesn't last. Purpose without process can't stand, because it's in the process that you develop the resilience, the character, and the strength to carry what's coming. Think about anything worthwhile in life. A masterpiece takes time. A building needs a strong foundation. A seed doesn't turn into a tree overnight, and neither do you. The greatness inside of you needs time to grow. It needs time to develop. It needs time to be refined. But in that waiting, in that process, it's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to feel like nothing is happening, like you're stuck, like you're wasting time. But let me tell you, nothing is wasted in the process. Every moment, every trial, every challenge is part of the preparation. Every step is moving you closer, even when it feels like you're standing still. The process is uncomfortable because it stretches you. It pushes you beyond your limits. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself that need to grow. And growth is rarely easy. It's rarely painless, but it's always worth it. Because without growth, there's no progress. Without growth, there's no transformation. And without growth, there's no fulfillment of purpose. So if you find yourself in the middle of the process, if you find yourself waiting, struggling, or wondering when things are going to change, know this: the process is not a punishment. The process is preparation. The process is making you into the person you need to be to step into your destiny. Resilience is built in the process. It's built in the moments when you feel like giving up but choose to keep going. It's built in the moments when everything seems to be going wrong, but you decide to trust anyway. It's built in the moments when you're tired, when you're frustrated, when you're questioning why you even started in the first place, but you keep showing up. That's where resilience is born. That's where strength is forged, not in the easy times, not in the victories, but in the struggles, in the setbacks, in the seasons of waiting. There's something about the process that teaches you patience, and patience is a powerful thing. Patience doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. Patience means trusting the timing. It means doing what you can with what you have where you are, and trusting that the rest will unfold when it's supposed to. Patience means believing that the process is working even when you can't see the results yet. It means holding on, pressing forward, and refusing to give up, no matter how long it takes. The process is also where you learn to let go of control. And that's one of the hardest lessons of all. We want to control everything: the timing, the outcome, the journey. But the process reminds us that we're not in control, and that's okay, because there's a greater plan at work. There's a bigger picture that we can't always see. And sometimes the very things we're trying to hold on to are the things that are holding us back. The process teaches us to surrender, to release, to trust that what's meant for us will not pass us by. Love, and while you're in the process, it's important to remember that progress isn't always visible. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Think about a seed that's been planted in the ground. For weeks, maybe even months, it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing, foundations are being laid, and life is beginning to take shape. The same is true for you. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it's not there. Just because the results aren't visible yet doesn't mean the process isn't working. The process also teaches you gratitude. It's easy to take things for granted when they come quickly, when they come easily. But when you've had to fight for something, when you've had to wait for it, when you've had to go through the fire to get to the other side, you appreciate it so much more. You value it. You cherish it. The process gives you a deeper sense of gratitude, a deeper understanding of what truly matters, and a deeper appreciation for the journey. And let's not forget the power of perseverance. The process is where perseverance is tested and strengthened. It's where you learn to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's painful, even when you don't feel like it. Perseverance is what separates those who give up from those who succeed. It's what keeps you moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. And it's in the process that perseverance is built. It's in the process that you discover just how strong you are, just how much you can endure, just how far you can go. The process isn't just about reaching the destination. It's about becoming the person who's ready for the destination. It's about developing the character, the resilience, the strength, and the wisdom to handle what's ahead. Because the truth is, the destination is not the goal. The goal is to grow, to become, to transform. And that happens in the process. That happens in the waiting, in the struggle, in the journey. So if you find yourself in the middle of the process, take heart. Know that you're not alone. Know that the process is working, even when it doesn't feel like it. Know that every step, every challenge, every moment is moving you closer to your purpose. And know that the process is not here to harm you, but to help you. It's not here to break you, but to build you. It's not here to stop you, but to strengthen you. And in the process, don't forget to celebrate the small victories. Don't forget to acknowledge the progress, no matter how small it may seem. Every step forward is a step in the right direction. Every lesson learned is a lesson worth celebrating. Every moment of growth is a moment to be proud of. The process is full of victories if you're willing to see them. And those victories, no matter how small, are what keep you moving forward, what keep you motivated, what keep you believing in the journey. And the second part that comes when you have no other choice, when you're apart from the hope that God gave you. The process may not be easy, but it's worth it. It's worth the struggle, worth the waiting, worth the effort. Because the process is not just about where you're going, it's about who you're becoming along the way. And who you're becoming is someone strong, someone resilient, someone ready to step into the fullness of your purpose. Because I've expanded keynote number 3 into a comprehensive and motivational narrative. Let me know if you'd like further refinements or adjustments. /